Yeah, yeah. So, I think the game plan right now.
Okay, so let's talk about this. What were you and your buddies discussing? What's the game plan here moving forward?
Okay, my game plan is, I think, if Ethereum, say, goes up another 4 or 5 times, I think I'm going to go cash out a couple. I'm fortunate enough. I think I put on more. Is that right, Ty? I think among our friends, did I buy more than anybody?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'm in a good spot here. I mean, because I think I put in double what everyone else did. That if it goes up, like, say, into the 30s, from I think we're at 7 to 8 right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to.
So right now, as we're talking, it's at like 18.5 millibits. So you're talking about when it gets to 30 millibits.
No. When I'm at $30.
Oh, $30.
Right. Let's talk in terms of U.S. dollars, because at the end of the day, most of our bills are still in U.S. dollars, right?
Okay.
So, I'm saying at around $30. My game plan is I'm going to cash out, I would say a couple years of living expenses.
Yeah.
Right. So, since we're being recorded, just whatever I'm spending every year, times 2, 2.5, something like that. Yeah. So, maybe a couple years of living expenses, and then I can think about what I want to do. It would give me the option to, say, look for other opportunities, or to travel, or to take some time off, and that would leave enough on for me. That would still, I would still have about 2/3 of my position.
Yeah.
2/3 after doing that, like in the 30s or something like that, right? And then I can, I think that if that happens, and at this rate, it could be next month, right? At this pace that we're going, right? It's very possible it could be in by the end of this month or the end of next month, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that's something I want to. I was talking with my buddy. I think that would be a good move. That I could take 1/3 off, and and we're trying to, it's too bad, because I do have a lot of faith in this project, that we don't have a options market like we do with stocks, right?
Yeah.
Because, one of the things we discussed today was that, let's say I need, 50,000 over a year, right? Let's just pick a number. I don't need it right now, right? I don't really need to have like 50,000 in the bank today, right?
Yeah.
I really need it over the next year, right? But on the other hand, so let's say this was a stock, and you could buy put options on it, right? I would just basically say, all right, buy $50,000 worth of puts on it, right? And depending on the volatility, right, of what they're priced, that might cost me, I don't know, $5,000-$6,000, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but then that would lock in the price that I can sell it at for the next year, right?
Yeah.
So if it goes down in value, I got my puts, right? And if it goes up in value, I still capture all of the upside minus what I spent on the puts, right? Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
So let's just say you had $100,000 in stock. Let's pretend this is a stock, right? And you're saying, you know what, I really am bullish on, say, company XYZ. I don't really want to sell it, but I need I want to spend this 100,000 over the next year, but I think it's going to keep going up. But it might go down, right? But you can say that, all right, how much would it cost for me to buy a put option, a 1-year put option? And you'd have to look up what the premiums are and what it's quoted at. You buy the puts, and if the stock craters, well, you have your put, right? The puts will go up in value, and you can sell the put rather than sell the stock, right?
Yeah.
If it goes up in value, well, the puts eventually expire worthless, right? So basically, the person you bought the puts from gets to keep your money, but you're holding the stock, so, that offsets that, right? If I'm not saying I can do that with ethers.
Yeah, you can't. So you cannot do that with ethers. So what's the game plan here? So what you're saying is that if it goes up to $30 per ether, you're going to cash out, and you're going to cash out 2 years worth of living expenses, so you have the freedom to go and figure out what you want to do.
What I want to do next? Yeah, I'm thinking that doesn't mean I would quit my job right away, right?
Yeah.
But it would give me the option to do that, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's my game plan. I'm just saying that hypothetically, because ethers is the ecosystem is being developed very quickly right now, and in fact, somebody should just go write a smart contract, because that's what Ethereum is to actually write a contract to actually do this. It shouldn't even be that hard to do, to write an ether option smart contract to actually do what I'm describing. I might actually even try to write it myself. In that case.
Yeah.
Right. Because I am a software engineer. Maybe I spend 1 month to try to figure all of this out, how to write these smart contracts. Because this is exactly what I want to know. If the price goes down, there's no U.S. dollars, but you can place bets in ethers, right?
Yeah.
I bet so many ethers based on its USD price. If it goes up, then I lose those ethers. But if it goes down, then somebody pays me. Somebody who took the other side of the bet has to pay me, right? In more ethers, right? Otherwise, he gets to keep the ethers that I give him, right, to insure my risk on the downside, right?
Yeah.
You just have to find a way to agree on a price. How much are you willing to, how many ethers do you want to insure me for that risk, right? Yeah.
What you're talking about here is getting into the complicated stuff, complex stuff, and you're getting into the derivatives and all that stuff about cryptocurrency. So that might be confusing to some of our audience here.
Yeah. But you're right. I might, if that's too much work, I might just straight up sell them and call it a day, right?
Yeah.
But I'm saying if something if this was stocks, for example, let's say we were in the same position with, let's say you bought Tesla at $30 and it went up 10 times, right?
Yeah.
And then you decided, you know what, I want to take some time off, but I think Tesla is going to keep going higher, for example, right? So
yeah.
I don't want to give up the upside, but I want to insure my downside, right? That's one way puts can accomplish that.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're giving up a fixed amount of upside, right? You're giving up what it costs you to hedge, but you won't lose you won't lose any more than that if it goes up, right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. The question is just how much are you willing to pay for that insurance?
Okay, so your strategy is a little bit complex, man. What is your strategy, Eric?
My strategy?
Yeah.
Hey, well, mine's a little more simple. Let's see. As for right now, I'm looking to pull out let's see, a small percentage once it reached my target price. So I've already covered. I've already covered all my positions. So my target price is 0.02. 0.02 when it gets back up in the 200s.
Yeah,
so that's around $8. That's around $8.
So
I mean,
so we're not far from that right now. It's been jumping around, and I've been in and out, and I made money on the upside, and then when it came back down, I bought back in, and it's gone back up again. So I've already made money on it twice.
So he actually made 2 trades on it already, two big trades, 2 big position trades.
All right,
on it.
cool. Yeah.
So he got in at the IPO, and then he took profits, and then when it pulled back to 10 millibits, he got back in, and now it's up to 17, almost 18 millibits.
All right, that's a good.
And I've already taken profits again. So my intention was to take more profits the closer it gets to 0.02 millibits.
That could happen tomorrow, right?
Yeah, it's going pretty quick here, so we'll see. And at that point in time, as far as all my investments in cryptocurrencies, I've already covered my positions. And on top of that, taken profits. So now I'm at a point where I'm solely playing with the market's money, and I've already profited from my personal investments. So I'm able to take a little bit more risk. There's more things happening with Ethereum, so there's more releases, and I still have to structure where I feel would be a good safe point for the remainder of my investment. Since I've already
so you're going to take profits. Do you plan to reinvest it into crypto? Those profits back into crypto, or are you going to go one of my colleagues at work, for example, he bought some Ethereum, only a couple Bitcoins, but he took it out and half of it, and he's going to put that money on a house, right? It's going to be part of his down payment on a house, right? So are you going to, is that money going to stay in the crypto space, or do you plan on, say, putting it into the stock market or putting it on a house or doing something else with it? Or just spending it, buying yourself something nice? I mean, what do you plan on doing with it?
Well, I don't intend to use that money for personal living type stuff. All the money that comes out of that is going to be for investment purposes, and I think a good portion of that is going to remain in crypto so long as I feel comfortable with it, so long as I feel like I'm getting information online, through contacts, through just watching the market. And there's nothing crazy coming out. I mean, sometimes when you feel like you've got an investment and then you start to feel fishy about it, then you might be better safe than sorry and take your winnings off the table. So I'm fine with that because I'm already playing with the market's money. So it's I'm not attached to it now. But at the same time, it is still profits. So we're all kidding ourselves to say that we're not attached to watching that little ticker go red and green. And those candlesticks jump up and down. Once you've got money in the markets, then they're pulling your emotions with it. So
but
I do intend primarily keep it in crypto.
In crypto.
Yeah, I'm going to keep a good portion of it in crypto. But
you're going to keep the bitcoins. You're not going to convert the bitcoins to cash, to U.S. dollars, right? Like you sold your ethers for bitcoins, and they're going to stay in bitcoins. Is that what it is? Or
currently, yes. But there is some point where until the cryptocurrencies are as solid, because right now they're all very volatile. They're all moving. I mean, even though Bitcoin has slowed down and settled down a bit, it's still on the move quite a lot more than the currency market for like dollars, yen, for standard currencies, fiat currencies. So I think that until the Bitcoin market, the crypto market, is able to be on par not in terms of stability, but in terms of reliability, like hey, this isn't going anywhere. There's a lot of people that are still very skeptical about having something that's not tangible, and the further it gets away from being something we can hold in our hand, the more likely it is that people are afraid. Some people are not really technologically advanced in their knowledge on how technology works. So let's say they make something that's solely on the computer, and then their computer crashes. They can't access their keypad, their KeyPass or whatever their password manager is. Now they have no way to access anything. So there's a lot of people that like to have things in a tangible form, and until the crypto world reaches some kind of level where people can have, like the average person can have that kind of reliability in the cryptocurrency just like they have it in a tangible dollar bill, then I think there's going to be a lot of reluctance. So that's my personal take on it. So at some point, yeah, I do view it as an investment, and then secondary, I view it as a currency. So the investment part is when you make a good trade in the stock market, when you make a good trade in options or whatever you have, when it's an investment, it's not cash until you close your trade, until you close your position. Because it can go in your favor and it can go against
Bitcoin? So you don't consider you've sold your ethers for Bitcoin, but you haven't sold your Bitcoins for U.S. dollars yet. So I mean, you haven't completely closed out your trade, right?
You are correct.
It's not completely. It's still sitting in Bitcoin. Bitcoins could crash tomorrow, and
the world could crack open, and so that's where I'm coming from. So it's I think there's a lot of levels of this game that people have to think about when they're getting involved in it, and that's just my personal deal. I view it as an investment first, and then I view it as
it definitely is an investment. Yeah, it definitely is an investment.
And then as far as progressing to be currency that we use every day and that the average person uses, we still have a ways to go because the average person just doesn't have access. Just doesn't have they may have an iPhone, they may have a computer, but there's a lot. How many people do you talk to on a daily basis that are new conversations? They have no idea what Bitcoin is. You mentioned Bitcoin, you mentioned cryptocurrency.
Well,
they don't you're talking French.
So that's changed over the last few years, Eric. Like, I think 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when we first started getting into this, you're right, like no one had ever heard of it. Now I think today it's on CNBC, it's on Fox News, it's on CNN, I think people at least have heard of it now, but they probably don't quite know what it is yet. Or they know it's some kind of internet magic.
I'll go with that part. Yeah.
Yeah. They know it's some kind of magic internet money. I think that's what the average person knows, right?
Yeah.
So I think that, but that's changing, right? I mean, that's something like you can actually right now take your Bitcoins and turn them into, say, a Starbucks gift card and go buy yourself a coffee at Starbucks with it, right? You can do that
which is awesome.
Now. Yeah, right. You can buy anything on Amazon at 20% off or more on Purse.io. You can. There's a bunch of you can put your Bitcoins up for sale on BitQuick, and then somebody will go and deposit dollars directly into your bank account.
Everything that you're saying right now are the reasons that I feel comfortable enough to still leave them in the form of Bitcoins.
Yeah.
So that's like the base crypto that myself, but other people will also trade and they will invest in other cryptocurrencies, but it always comes back to the base. Just like the original model, I'll say you'd have U.S. dollars or whatever dollars in a bank account, and that brokered account would go and enter the stock market and then exit the stock market back into your brokered account. So for my purposes, Bitcoin is my brokered account.
Yes, it's the crypto. It's basically your crypto equivalent of cash at this point. Even though it's way more volatile than, like you said, any fiat currency, right? It's still way more risky